Hey y'all, just when we thought 2020 was a year unlike any other, 2021 came along and showed everyone that expectations were made to be broken and that there's no planning for the will of the people. So in our last ISC of the year, let's take a look back at what made 2021 the biggest year for Star Citizen yet. In January, the year began with the longest-running fan-organized event in Star Citizen, the filthiest race in the verse, the Daymar Rally. Now, when devs returned from their holiday break, they found reports of a bug that was threatening the year's event and were able to develop, test, and push out a fix just in the nick of time. It was a start to the year that reminded us all how Star Citizen only exists because of backers and developers working together in support of each other's shared dreams of a first-person universe unlike any other. January also saw the return of the Combat Summit, a gathering that would set the stage for what would become the most substantial series of updates and improvements to Star Citizen's flight experience yet, leading to the power management and capacitor changes, missile guidance and control rework, operator mode improvements, and more that would come throughout the rest of the year. January 2021 also said a temporary goodbye to Delamar, the outlaw planetoid that had been sleeping on Stanton's couch since late 2017 when it was removed in PTU to make way for the new planetary tenants arriving soon. Don't worry, we'll see you again soon, Delamar. February brought with it Alpha 3.12.1 and the release of our first dynamic event, Xenothreat, where the Outlaw Group launched a campaign of violence throughout the Stanton system and players came forward to combat the Scourge. It was a first-of-its-kind event that brought everyone in the persistent universe together in a common cause to, well, most everyone. Some of you just gotta do your own thing, and believe me, I respect that. But it was a chance for everyone else to fight with and against the fabled Idris and the biggest step forward for capital ship combat in the persistent universe yet. 3.12.1 also brought with it a bunch of bug fixes, EVA quality of life improvements, more prison missions, and improved inventory for shops throughout the verse. While the Red Festival brought new red and gold ship paints for the Nomad and Freelancer, and then for those who were lovers and not fighters or cargo haulers, Coromore 2951 brought with it a Valentine's Day contest where the community had wonderful submissions like the ones you can see here, as well as some using my likenesses that we will not be showing here. I did send one to my mom though, so that she could see what kind of stuff I have to deal with. She said you're all as special as I am. And I still don't know how to take that. March began with the first wave of our long-awaited ship naming coming to the persistent universe, where proud owners of the Hammerhead, Reclaimer, Carrack, Mercury Star Runner, 600i, and 890 jumps could reserve their very, very, very small names. They got better. They're getting better. March also brought with it a new Cyclone MT for Stella Fortuna and our first look at the persistent universe's reputation system, a turning point moment in the continuing development of the Star Citizen experience, adding consequence and reward to almost any action or decision you make, and allowing our developers to build a sense of true progression as more and more systems plug into it from that point on as it went into testing with Evocati that month. April then kicked off with the visually impressive reveal of the long-rumored Origin 404, or as Paul Jones called it, a sausage dog with toilets. And we all know that when art director Paul Jones says it, you can take that to the carrot killer. April also saw new Star Citizen merchandise arrive, in-game Star Kitten helmets for subscribers, updates to the referral program, and a little thing called Alpha 313, which brought with it all manner of new goodies like brand new cave entrances and sinkholes giving new opportunities to explore with ground vehicles and spacecraft alike, new asteroids created with our refined process for more variety and less potato-ness, a wrap-up to the polished revisions of every planet and moon in the Stanton system, improving the overall look and feel of everything from Aberdeen to Yela, new mission types like quantum sensitive, timed, and multi-drop deliveries, new staggered force reactions, object push-pull trolleys, mounted guns they still won't let us put on trolleys, give the people what they want, Rich Tyrer, Merlin Constellation docking, vehicle visual degradation in our first ability to wash some of our ships, mining subcomponents to improve that forever improving system, SDF shield effects to patch these holes and make for better looking effects overall, and the bigger and badder Rock DS mining vehicle. Now, not to be outdone, May came hard with Invictus Launch Week and Alpha 3.13.1, which brought players inside the battle-hardened Javelin-class destroyer for their first glimpse of life aboard an actual UEEN vessel. It also brought the C2 and M2 Hercules Starlifters into the persistent universe to forever change the meaning of weight class, made it an early Tonkmas with the arrival of the Tumbril Nova, gave us our first look at the currently in development RSI Scorpius, gave racers a chance to compete in our first Microtech Metro Loop race, and shocked everyone when the big mammer jammer itself, the Bengal carrier, came cruising through the Stanton system. To say it was a sight to behold is an understatement, and was a fitting tribute to what was already well on its way to being Star Citizen's biggest year to date. So, June, listen, you're gonna take a break, right? After those crazy April and Mays? You'd think, but not at Star Citizen. When June said this is the way, beginning with a new Azatlan light armor for subscribers, issue council improvements and new multi-user private lobbies to make getting into games with your friends easier than ever before, an Alien Week that brought with it the newest ship manufacturer in Gitac and its Raylan cargo solution, new paints for the hottest offerings from Mapoa, Asperia, and the Banu, an intragalactic cook-off that contained enough cookies to spike my blood sugar just by looking at them, and this thing Jeremiah and I made on stream that Dave Haddock still won't acknowledge or talk about. Just wait until you see what we make for Luminalia tomorrow, Dave. June also introduced us to our next dynamic event, the Ninetales Lockdown, improvements to the upcoming Xenothreat Redux, and new limited edition model kits from our partners at JR Design and Fabrication, who made that enormous life-size dragonfly you saw at Citizencon, and that's sitting in 2 giant crates right next to this desk that they still won't let me open. We also learned that Ian Leland doesn't know what 7-layer dip was that month. I know we're only talking about the highlights, but that was a pretty big one. July was Public Test Universe month, as Alpha 3.14 and its edition of Star Citizen's next landing zone, Orizon, and the gas giant crusader that sits beneath it, required an enormous amount of testing and quote-unquote banging on the pipes from backers and developers alike. Together, the two represented the next major milestone for our Planet Tech, content, environment, engine, graphics, VFX teams, and more. And along with it came many of those flight combat changes that began their journey back in January, a revitalization of the way radar, scanning, and ping worked throughout the universe, and new canvas slice HUD made possible by our continuing development of building blocks that provided an improved layout that maximized screen real estate while laying the groundwork for manufacturer-specific visual design still in development, like the Aegis and Drake ones you can see here. And after living most of July in PTU, Alpha 3.14 was joined by the constellation Taurus when it came to the live servers in August, along with our first version of volumetric clouds that would steadily improve over the remaining months of 2021. New merchandise like the Finley Stormwall plush that looks to give Pico a run for his cuddly money. Our first chance to meet several new faces at our newest development studio at Turbulent Montreal, and more. Now inside the verse, if the new Ninetales Lockdown didn't threaten to make your day enough, Xenothreat returned with a bunch of lessons learned from their first encounter and improvements to the overall flow made with feedback from our players. Now that said, Ninetales and Xenothreat weren't the most insidious forces to make their presence known in the month of August. Oh no! For August was the beginning of Ship Showdown, and the end of all sane reason and accountability when the vile armies of Argo began their campaign of busting expectations and ship brackets alike. No! We will not be showing any pictures or videos on this one. It's my show! I will mention another community event in the Fight or Flight Double Elimination Tournament, where content creators from all over the world went head-to-head in randomized ships and loadouts for the first of its kind event that I sincerely hope returns in 2022. Now, October, there's a month, and it was perhaps the biggest month and the biggest year of Star Citizen yet, beginning with the return of Citizencon in digital-only form. It was a day packed with exciting looks at the upcoming Pyro system, including new AI systems utilizing new planetary nav mesh, bringing new life and possibility to the new planets and moons of Star Citizen's persistent universe. It was also our first look at the newly reconcepted Banu merchantman that's recently entered production, the Anvil Liberator light carrier that may prove to be essential in barren systems without a gas station on every corner like Stanton, the official reveal of the long-debated 400i from Origin, new advancements in planet and cloud tech, an update on server meshing with graphics that nearly killed Vicky, and much, much more. It was also where we saw tremendous offerings from our community in the cosplay contest, and perhaps my favorite part of the entire day, community videos that showcase precisely what separates the Star Citizen community from every other gathering of fans in gaming. Now I want you to know that if the entirety of Sleepless in Stanton isn't playing right now, complete and uninterrupted, it's because somebody's punishing me for skipping September. Now, in addition to Citizencon, the patch with the most widespread and healthy impact on life in the persistent universe since Alpha 3.0 dropped to PTU in October with Alpha 3.15, the biggest step yet in realizing the vision of Death of a Spaceman set forth at the beginning of our crowdfunding campaign. That began with the addition of downstates, allowing for and encouraging group participation so that players can better keep each other in the fight, dealing with new injury states like broken arms and legs that impair their ability to fly or otherwise traverse the universe, and administering treatment to players and NPCs alike through healing. Now, this was coupled with the death of global inventory and the new tiered implementation of a local to vehicle to external to personal inventory revamp. Now, from this point forward, the planning, considerations, and ultimately choices players would make would be more important and impactful to their gameplay experience than ever before. Along with additional systems like loot generation, giving players more reward for their increased risk in the field, new infiltrate and defend missions, bombing mechanics alongside the new A2 Hercules Starlifter, additional improvements to Crusader and the Origin landing zone and hospitals, the only place I see more than Kleischer Prison when I get to play. October was the month that life in the verse truly changed forever, and gave us our best glimpse yet at what 2022 has to offer. Now, as Alpha 3.15 moved from PTU to live servers in November, it was followed soon after by Alpha 3.15.1, which brought with it a return to the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, the biggest showcase of spacecraft and vehicles in the Star Citizen universe. Now, this year's event saw the reveal of the Anvil Spartan, the new Aegis Redeemer, the Argo Raft, the Ares Starfighter Ion and Inferno from Crusader, the Misk Odyssey, and the Jax Midlife Crisis.
I don't know, Jimmy. Maybe this gig is passing me by. I mean, clearly I'm out of ideas. I'm rehashing old material without even realizing it.
It was an exciting event as it is every year, and one whose effects I think we'll be feeling this time next year. I'm just saying, Jax is going to come back from Pyro with who knows what. And that brings us up to December and the upcoming patch. Now, as we've seen throughout this year, not all the content included in a patch cycle will arrive on day one, as the use of our point patch system has been tremendously successful in keeping fresh each and every month of 2021. Now, that said, pending any further surprises, our next patch cycle will include a new hospital in Area 18, the Gravlev physics rework we showcased last week that will make vehicles old and new fly better than ever before. I have no real power here. The new Jumptown 2.0 dynamic event, which we should really come up with a better name for because it's also Raven's Roost and Paradise Cove now as well. And something new to help players hold down those drug labs, allow me to introduce to you the Cutlass Steel, the newest offering from Drake Interplanetary that lets you bring people and guns to bear on targets like never before. Let's start with the guns. We heard you like guns, so in addition to the 4 size 3 gimbals controlled by the pilot, 1 man turret with size 3s, we've added an additional remote turret with size 2, a whole bunch of missiles, and of course the brand new hotness, 5 door-mounted ballistic Gatlings, 2 on each side and 1 at the rear to bring a veritable death blossom of firepower down upon Raven's Roost, Paradise Cove, Jumptown, or heck, just about anywhere. Then, once you've cleared the area, we go inside the ship to discover a whopping 18 jump seats full of mercenaries or commandos ready to maintain control of the area. Is it a lot? Maybe. Is it excessive? Possibly. Is it Drake? Through and through, you bet your butt it is. The Cutlass Steel will be straight to flyable when our next patch goes live. Let me try some unofficial ad copy here. The Drake Cutlass Steel. It's a lot. All in all, it's pretty easy to look at 2021 and be incredibly proud of what we've accomplished together. We know it's not always an easy path, and that the road bumps and detours along the way can sometimes make for a frustrating experience. But for those of you who have watched this year's over 100 videos on YouTube or Twitch, or read the 250 plus comm links on the robertspaceindustries.com website, or engaged with the thousands of dev posts across Spectrum, Reddit, or social media, we hope this all gives you a sense of just how much this project means to us, how much your involvement sustains us, and how much we very often share the same feelings in both our victories and our setbacks. They say that video game development has always been a collaborative process, but perhaps if we've learned anything this year, it's that none may be more so than Star Citizen. And we're thrilled to have shared our 2021 with you. For Inside Star Citizen, and on behalf of Cloud Imperium Games, I'm Jared Huckabee. Come on and hang out with Jeremiah and I one more time before the holidays on Twitch tomorrow. And we'll see you right back here in the new year. Take care.